I'm not leaving ruins. I'm making a masterpiece of revenge.
3 in the morning, and I'm lying here listening to my wife whisper sweet nothings to someone who definitely isn't me. The name's Sam Bishop, and if you're thinking this story ends with me crying into a beer and signing divorce papers, you've got another thing coming. Lila thinks I'm asleep. She's got that burner phone pressed against her ear like it's the Holy Grail, speaking in hushed tones that would make a priest blush. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, G, she coos. Sam's working late on the Henderson project. Gee, how original. I've been managing construction projects for 15 years, and I can tell you that nothing gets built on lies and cheap foundations. Both tend to collapse spectacularly. I keep my breathing steady, playing the role of the oblivious husband while my mind races. The Henderson project wrapped up 3 weeks ago. Lila knows this. Heck, we celebrated with dinner at Romano's. Her idea, probably to ease her guilty conscience. She hangs up and slides the phone under her pillow. In the darkness, I can hear her satisfied sigh. If I had $1 for every time she's worked late at the real estate office these past 6 months, I'd have enough for a divorce lawyer. Or a hitman. I'm kidding. Kind of. The next morning, Lila bounces around our kitchen like she's auditioning for a cereal commercial. She's always been beautiful. Auburn hair, green eyes that could sell ice to Eskimos. But lately, there's something different. A glow. The kind married women get when they're getting attention from someone who isn't their husband. Coffee? She asks, already pouring herself a cup. Sure. I watch her move around our kitchen. This woman I've shared a bed with for 8 years. Big day at the office? Oh, you know how it is. Gavin's got me working on this huge commercial development downtown. Could be really big for my career. Gavin Reed. There's our G. I know Gavin. Met him at a few office parties. Early 40s, perfectly styled hair, the kind of smile that says he's never had to work with his hands a day in his life. Drives a BMW that costs more than most people make in a year. The golden boy of Morrison Real Estate, and apparently my wife's new hobby. That's great, honey. You deserve the recognition. She kisses my cheek before heading out, leaving behind a cloud of expensive perfume I didn't buy her. The front door clicks shut, and I'm alone with my coffee and a growing certainty that my marriage is more fiction than fact. I should be devastated. 8 years of marriage, 3 years of dating before that. But sitting in our kitchen, the one I renovated myself, installing every cabinet and tile, I feel something else entirely. Cold calculation. The same methodical thinking I use when planning a construction project, except this time I'm planning something else entirely. First things first. Evidence. If Lila wants to play games, she needs to understand she's playing with someone who reads blueprints for a living. I know how to follow plans, and I definitely know how to spot structural weaknesses. Her laptop sits on the kitchen counter, password protected, but not impenetrable. Lila's always been predictable. Her passwords are usually variations of her maiden name and birthday. 3 tries later, I'm in. The email account she thinks I don't know about is a goldmine. Messages going back 4 months, increasingly explicit, increasingly careless. Photos that make my coffee taste like ash. Hotel receipts. Plans for weekend getaways while I was supposedly working overtime. But it's the thread with her best friend Mona that really gets my attention. Mona Chen, office gossip extraordinaire and Lila's partner in crime since college. Their messages read like a handbook for cheating wives. Make sure you delete everything after reading, Mona writes. Travis saw Gavin's car at the Marriott last Tuesday. If Sam finds out, you're screwed. Travis? That would be Travis Murphy, Gavin's protege and designated suck-up. Apparently half the office knows about my wife's extracurricular activities. I'm the last to know, which makes me either the most trusting husband in Maine or the biggest fool. I'm leaning toward fool, but that's about to change. My phone buzzes. Text from Big Mike, who owns the auto shop where I get my truck serviced, and my ego repaired with generous doses of beer and BS. Rusty Anchor tonight? Tina's making her famous wings. Perfect. The Rusty Anchor is where blue-collar guys like me go to solve the world's problems one beer at a time. Tina Rodriguez. Wait, no, that's not right. Tina Walsh. She's the bartender who knows everyone's business and isn't shy about sharing it. If anyone's heard rumors about Lila and Gavin, it'll be her. I spend the rest of the day at the Brennan job site, supervising the installation of steel beams while my mind works through possibilities. Construction taught me that every problem has a solution. You just need the right tools and enough patience to use them properly. By 6 o'clock, I'm sliding onto my usual stool at the Rusty Anchor. The place smells like beer, fried food, and working-class honesty. Tina's behind the bar, her red hair pulled back in a ponytail, sleeves rolled up to reveal arms that could probably arm wrestle half the guys in here. Sam Bishop, haven't seen you in weeks. Where you been hiding? Working, you know how it is. I signal for a beer. Lila's been busy too. Big project with her boss. Tina's expression shifts slightly. In bartender terms, that's like a neon sign flashing, "I know something you don't." Gavin Reed, right? That guy's a real piece of work. How so? She glances around, then leans closer. Let's just say he's got a reputation for mixing business with pleasure. Half the women in that office have stories. Stories? The kind that would make their husbands very unhappy. She straightens up as Big Mike walks in, but not before adding, "You didn't hear it from me." Big Mike slides onto the stool next to me, his massive frame making the furniture creak in protest. Mike earned his nickname honestly, 6'4", built like a linebacker, with hands that can rebuild an engine or crush a beer can with equal ease. "You look like someone stole your lunch money," he says, signaling Tina for his usual. "Worse, someone's stealing my wife." Mike's beer stops halfway to his lips. "Come again?" I give him the abbreviated version. Mike listens without interruption, his expression growing darker with each detail. When I finish, he sets his beer down with the careful precision of a man controlling his temper. That silver spoon son of a witch thinks he can just take whatever he wants. Apparently so. What are you going to do about it? Good question. The old Sam would probably confront Lila directly, have a tearful conversation, maybe suggest marriage counseling. The old Sam believed in playing fair and giving people the benefit of the doubt. But the old Sam never had his wife's affair broadcast to half of Morrison real estate, while he was the only one left in the dark. "I'm going to give them exactly what they deserve," I say. Mike grins, and it's not a pleasant expression. "Need any help?" The next morning, I call in sick to work. First time in 3 years, but I've got more important projects to manage. Lila leaves for the office at her usual time, kissing my forehead and telling me to feel better. The concern in her voice almost sounds genuine. "I'll probably work late tonight," she says. "This Reed project is really heating up." I'll bet it is. Once her car disappears down our street, I get to work. First stop, Mrs. Cottle next door. Eleanor Cottle is 73 years old, lives alone with 3 cats, and knows everything that happens within a 5-block radius. She's also been trying to feed me homemade cookies since we moved in. "Sam, what a lovely surprise. Are you feeling all right? You look a bit pale." "Just a little under the weather, Mrs. Cottle. Actually, I was wondering if you could help me with something." Her eyes light up. Mrs. Cottle lives for neighborhood drama like plants live for sunlight. "Of course, dear. What do you need?" "Well, it's a bit embarrassing, but I think someone might be watching our house. Lila's been getting some strange calls, and yesterday I could have sworn I saw someone taking pictures." This is complete fiction, but Mrs. Cottle eats it up like Sunday dinner. "Oh my, that's terrible. What can I do?" "Would you mind keeping an eye out? Maybe if you see any unfamiliar cars or people hanging around." "I'd feel so much better knowing you're watching out for us." Mrs. Cottle practically glows with importance. "Absolutely. I'll keep my camera ready, just in case." Perfect. Mrs. Cottle with a camera and a mission is better than any private investigator. Next stop, downtown. Morrison Real Estate occupies 3 floors of a glass tower that screams, "We charge too much commission." I park across the street with a clear view of the parking garage entrance. At 11:30, Gavin's BMW emerges, followed 2 minutes later by Lila's Honda. They're not even trying to be subtle. I follow at a distance, my beat-up work truck invisible among the downtown traffic. They head to the Riverside Inn, a boutique hotel that charges $300 a night for rooms with historic charm. I watch them enter separately. Gavin first, Lila 5 minutes later. Real professionals would wait longer, but I suppose passion makes people stupid. I circle the block and park where I can see Gavin's car. Then I wait, camera ready, feeling like the world's most depressed private investigator. They emerge 2 hours later, again with the staggered timing. Lila looks satisfied and slightly disheveled. Gavin looks like a man who's been getting away with something for too long. Time to change that. I follow Lila back to her office, then head home to plan phase 2. My basement workshop becomes mission control. Photos printed and organized, timeline established, strategy mapped out like a construction project. The beauty of construction work is that it teaches you patience. You can't rush a foundation or skip steps in the process. Everything builds on what came before, and if you do it right, The final result is solid enough to last generations. I'm building something too, but it's not a house. That evening, Lila comes home with another story about working late. She's getting better at the details, mentions specific clients, complains about paperwork, even brings home a folder full of legitimate documents. If I didn't have photos of her leaving a hotel with her boss, I might actually believe her. "How was your day?" she asks, settling onto the couch next to me. "Feeling better?" "Much better. Actually had some time to think about us." She tenses slightly. "Oh? Yeah. I've been working so much lately, I feel like we never really talk anymore. Maybe we should plan something special. A weekend getaway?" The relief on her face is almost comical. "That sounds wonderful. When were you thinking?" "How about next weekend? I could book us something nice." "Actually, I can't next weekend. Big presentation on Monday. I'll probably have to work all weekend preparing." Another lie, delivered with practiced ease. According to the hotel receipts I found, she and Gavin have the penthouse suite reserved for Saturday night. "That's too bad. The weekend after then?" "Perfect." She kisses my cheek, and I smell Gavin's cologne on her skin. I smile and nod, playing the understanding husband while mentally adding another item to my growing list. Lila thinks she's playing chess, but she doesn't realize I've already seen her entire playbook. The next few days follow a predictable pattern. Lila works late 3 times, each session corresponding to suspicious activity I document with the thoroughness of a building inspector. Mrs. Cottle proves invaluable, providing a steady stream of intelligence about unusual activity in the neighborhood. "That silver BMW was parked on Maple Street again yesterday," she reports over coffee and homemade snickerdoodles. "The driver was just sitting there watching your house." "Really? What did he look like?" "Well-dressed, expensive haircut. The kind of man who's never done an honest day's work in his life." Mrs. Cottle's class consciousness is showing, but her description of Gavin is spot on. Apparently, he's been driving by our house, probably working up the courage to see where his girlfriend lives. The arrogance is breathtaking. Friday night, I meet Big Mike and his cousin Frankie at the Rusty Anchor. Frankie's got a reputation, spent 2 years in county for assault, though anyone who knows the full story would call it justified. He's smaller than Mike, but carries himself like a man who's never backed down from a fight. "So this rich boy thinks he can just take whatever he wants?" Frankie asks after I explain the situation. "That's about the size of it." "And you want to what exactly? Beat his backside?" Nothing that simple. I want to destroy him completely, publicly. I want him to lose everything that matters to him." Frankie grins. It's an unsettling expression on his scarred face. "Now you're talking my language." Tina refills our beers and leans in conspiratorially. "You know, I heard something interesting about your boy, Gavin." "Oh?" It turns out he's engaged. Big society wedding planned for September. His fiance's daddy owns half the commercial real estate in Portland. The beer in my mouth suddenly tastes like victory. An engaged man screwing around with married women? That's not just adultery. It's social self-destruction in a town like this. "Interesting," I say. "Gets better. Word is the fiance's family doesn't know about Gavin's extracurricular activities. They think he's a saint." I look at Mike and Frankie. "Gentlemen, I think we need to plan a public service announcement." Saturday arrives with the kind of crisp October weather that makes Maine famous. Lila spends the morning getting ready for her work weekend, which apparently requires more lingerie than a Victoria's Secret catalog. "I'll probably be unreachable most of the day," she says, checking her reflection one more time. "You know how these intensive strategy sessions go? Of course, I'll probably just work on the basement project." She kisses me goodbye, and I count to 60 before grabbing my camera and following her downtown. The Riverside Inn's penthouse suite has floor-to-ceiling windows, and I found the perfect vantage point in the parking structure across the street. By noon, I've got enough photos to end 3 marriages and a political career. Lila and Gavin aren't just having an affair, they're putting on a performance that would make porn stars blush. The arrogance is stunning. They're not even closing the curtains. But photos are just the beginning. Phase 2 requires inside help, and I found the perfect accomplice, Mona Chen. Mona thinks she's Lila's best friend and co-conspirator, but she's actually a gossip junkie with the loyalty of a hungry shark. More importantly, she's been skimming money from the office petty cash fund, a fact I discovered during my research into Morrison Real Estate's business practices. Monday morning, I'm waiting in the coffee shop across from Mona's apartment building. She emerges at 7:45, same as every weekday, clutching her phone like a lifeline. I intercept her at the crosswalk. Mona, Sam Bishop, Lila's husband. She nearly drops her phone. Sam, what a surprise. What are you doing downtown? Meeting with a client. Listen, I was hoping you could help me with something. It's about Lila. Mona's face goes through several expressions before settling on cautious concern. Oh? Is everything all right? Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. She's been working such long hours lately, and I'm worried she might be burning out. You know how she gets when she's stressed. Oh yes, absolutely. She's been working very hard. I was thinking of surprising her, maybe showing up at the office with lunch or flowers, but I don't want to interrupt if she's in an important meeting. Mona's trapped between her loyalty to Lila and her inability to resist being helpful. That's so sweet of you, Sam, but, her schedule is pretty unpredictable these days. Right. Well, maybe you could help me coordinate. Give me a heads up when she's free. I suppose I could try. I pull out an envelope containing photos of her embezzlement receipts, bank records, the whole package. I'd really appreciate it, Mona. I'd hate for anything to interfere with Lila's career. Or yours. She stares at the envelope without opening it, but her face tells me she knows exactly what's inside. What do you want? She whispers. Just a little cooperation. Nothing that would hurt Lila. I love my wife, Mona. I just want to make sure she's happy. It's amazing how quickly people's principles evaporate when their own interests are threatened. Within 10 minutes, Mona's agreed to keep me informed about Lila's schedule and activities. She thinks she's protecting herself and her friend. She has no idea what she's actually signed up for. Tuesday, Mona texts me that Lila and Gavin are planning another hotel rendezvous Thursday afternoon. This time, I'm ready with more than just a camera. I arrive at the Riverside Inn 2 hours early and slip the desk clerk $50 to confirm that Mr. Reed has reserved the penthouse suite. Another $50 gets me the information that he's requested champagne and strawberries. How romantic. I position myself in the parking structure with a clear view of both the hotel entrance and the penthouse windows. At 2 p.m. sharp, Gavin's BMW pulls into the valet area. He's dressed like he's attending a board meeting, all confidence and expensive cologne. Lila arrives 15 minutes later, parking her own car in the guest lot. She's wearing the black dress I bought her for our anniversary last year. The symbolism isn't lost on me. They meet in the lobby, all professional handshakes and business smiles for the security cameras. Then they disappear into the elevator, and I start my timer. At 2:30, I call the hotel from a burner phone. Riverside Inn, how may I help you? Yes, I need to speak with Gavin Reed. He's in the penthouse suite. It's a family emergency. I'm sorry, sir, but Mr. Reed left instructions not to be disturbed. This is about his fiancée. There's been an accident. That gets their attention. Within minutes, the hotel manager is personally escorting a half-dressed Gavin through the lobby while Lila hides in the elevator. I capture every moment through the telephoto lens. Gavin's face when he realizes there's no emergency and no way to explain why he was half-dressed in a hotel room in the middle of a workday is absolutely priceless. But I'm just getting started. The beauty of a well-planned demolition is that you don't need explosives. You just need to identify the load-bearing structures and remove them systematically. Everything else collapses on its own. Gavin Reed's life has several load-bearing structures: his job, his engagement, his reputation, and his sense of invincibility. I'm about to introduce him to some controlled demolition. Wednesday morning, I anonymously email the photos from the hotel incident to 3 key recipients: Gavin's fiancée, Catherine Morrison, daughter of the agency's owner, and the president of the Portland Business Association, where Gavin serves on the ethics committee. The irony of that last one is too perfect to resist. By noon, my phone is buzzing with updates from Mona, who's watching the office drama unfold in real time. Catherine Morrison just stormed into Gavin's office, she texts. She's screaming so loud they can hear her in accounting. Mr. Morrison just arrived. He looks furious. Gavin's in the conference room with Mr. Morrison and 2 other executives. The door is closed, but everyone's talking. I'm getting play-by-play coverage of Gavin's professional execution, courtesy of the same woman who helped him deceive me for months. The irony is delicious. At 3 p.m., Mona calls directly. Sam, I think there's a problem. What kind of problem? Gavin's been suspended pending an investigation. Catherine broke off their engagement, and somehow photos of him and Lila got sent to half the office. I inject just the right amount of concern into my voice. Photos? What kind of photos? The kind that could ruin marriages? Jesus, Mona, is Lila okay? She's She's pretty upset. She thinks someone's been following them. Following them? That's crazy. Who would do that? But Mona's not stupid, just morally flexible. I can hear the suspicion creeping into her voice. Sam, where were you yesterday afternoon? Working the Brennan site. Why? Just be careful, okay? Lila's really scared, and when people are scared, they do unpredictable things. She hangs up, leaving me to contemplate the next phase. Lila knows someone's onto her, but she doesn't know how much I know or what I'm planning. Fear makes people careless, and careless people make mistakes. I don't have to wait long. Thursday evening, Lila comes home looking like she's aged 5 years in one day. Her makeup is smudged, her hair disheveled, and her hands shake as she pours herself a very large glass of wine. Rough day? I ask from the kitchen doorway. She jumps like I've fired a tool. God, Sam, you scared me. Sorry, you look upset. It's just work stuff. Office politics, you know. Want to talk about it? She studies my face, looking for signs that I know more than I'm letting on. It's complicated. Some people are spreading rumors about Gavin and other people in the office. Rumors? Nasty ones, the kind that could destroy careers and marriages. I sit down across from her, the picture of concerned husband. That's terrible. Is there anything I can do to help? No, I need to figure out how to handle this. Handle what, exactly? The question hangs in the air between us. Lila takes another large gulp of wine, and I can see her internal struggle playing out across her face. Tell me the truth and risk everything, or keep lying and hope the situation resolves itself. She chooses option 3, deflection. Sam, do you ever feel like someone's watching us? What do you mean? I keep seeing the same car parked on our street, and yesterday I could have sworn someone was taking pictures at the hotel where we had our client lunch. Client lunch. Even now, she can't tell the truth. That does sound strange. Maybe we should call the police. No, the response is too quick, too panicked. I mean, it's probably nothing. I'm just being paranoid. If you're sure. But Lila, if something's bothering you, you can tell me. We're married. We're supposed to be on the same team. She starts crying then, big heaving sobs that might be genuine remorse or just fear of getting caught. I hand her tissues and make comforting noises while mentally checking items off my list. I'm sorry, she whispers. I'm so sorry, Sam. For a moment, I think she's going to confess everything. Come clean, throw herself on my mercy, beg for forgiveness. Part of me almost wants her to. It would be simpler, cleaner, more like the marriage I thought we had. But Lila's not that brave. Sorry for what? I ask gently. For being such a mess lately, for working so much, for not being a better wife. Close, but not quite. She's apologizing for the symptoms, not the disease. You don't need to apologize for working hard. I'm proud of your success. She cries harder, and I realize she's not just scared, she's guilty. Whatever she felt for Gavin, she still has feelings for me, which makes her betrayal even more complicated. Good. Complicated emotions lead to poor decisions, and I'm counting on Lila making several more before this is over. Friday brings news that Gavin has been officially terminated from Morrison Real Estate. According to Mona's intelligence network, he cleaned out his office at 6 a.m. to avoid the gossip and stares. His BMW was repossessed that same afternoon. Apparently his lifestyle exceeded his actual income by a considerable margin. But Gavin's not the type to go quietly into professional oblivion. Men like him always have a backup plan, usually involving other people's money and reputations. Saturday morning, I'm in my workshop when my phone rings. Unknown number, but I answer anyway. Sam Bishop? Speaking. This is Gavin Reed. I think we need to talk. The arrogance is breathtaking. The man who's been screwing my wife for months wants to have a chat, probably to negotiate some kind of gentleman's agreement. I'm listening. Not over the phone. Meet me at Riverside Park by the boat launch. 1 hour. And why would I want to do that? Because if you don't, I'm going to tell everyone in town that you've been stalking me and your wife. I've got evidence, Sam, photos, witnesses, the whole package. He hangs up before I can respond, leaving me staring at the phone and marveling at his stupidity. Gavin thinks he's calling my bluff, but he's actually walking into the final phase of his own destruction. I grab my truck keys and head for the park, where Gavin Reed is about to learn the difference between construction work and demolition. Riverside Park on a Saturday morning is usually full of families and joggers. But October's chill has thinned the crowd to a few dedicated dog walkers and one very nervous real estate developer. Gavin's waiting by the boat launch, hands shoved deep in his coat pockets, looking like a man who's finally realized he might be in over his head. His BMW is gone, replaced by a rental sedan that screams financial difficulties. I park 20 feet away and take my time walking over. Let him sweat. Sam. He tries for confidence, but his voice cracks slightly. Gavin, nice morning for a walk. Cut the crap. We both know why we're here. Do we? Why don't you enlighten me? He pulls out his phone and shows me a series of photos, me following him, me outside the hotel, me talking to Mona. Stalking is a felony in Maine, Sam. So is harassment. I study the photos with the interest of a professional. These are pretty good. You hire a private investigator? I didn't need to. You're not as subtle as you think. Apparently not. I hand his phone back. So what do you want, Gavin? I want you to back off. Stop following me. Stop interfering with my business, and we'll call it even. Even? That's interesting math. You've been screwing my wife for months, cost me my marriage, and now you want to call it even? His face flushes. Your marriage was over long before I came along. Lila's miserable with you, Sam. She deserves better than a blue-collar nobody who can't give her the life she wants. There it is. The class warfare that's been simmering under the surface. In Gavin's world, construction workers are interchangeable parts, and wives are just another acquisition to be upgraded when a better model becomes available. You're right, I say. She does deserve better. Better than a lying, cheating piece of crap who got fired for inappropriate workplace behavior. I wasn't fired for harassment. I was fired because someone, probably you, sent private photos to my employer. Private photos of you cheating on your fiancé with a married woman in a public hotel during business hours. Yeah, that's definitely harassment of the innocent bystanders who had to witness it. Gavin steps closer, trying to use his height advantage to intimidate me. It's a mistake. I've been in enough construction site confrontations to know that the guy who gets physical first usually loses. Listen carefully, you blue-collar piece of trash. Lila's gonna leave you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. And when she does, I'll be waiting. Because she knows what I can give her, and it's a heck of a lot more than you ever could. What can you give her, Gavin? You're unemployed. Your fiancé dumped you. Your car got repossessed. What exactly are you bringing to this relationship? I've got connections, opportunities. I'll land on my feet, and when I do, Lila will be right there with me. The delusion is almost admirable. Gavin's lost everything that mattered to him, but he still thinks he's the winner in this scenario. You know what I think? I step closer, close enough to smell his expensive cologne and see the fear in his eyes. I think you're a parasite who's been living off other people's money your whole life. I think you targeted my wife because she was vulnerable and you were bored. And I think you're about to learn what happens when you screw with the wrong person. Is that a threat? It's a promise. Gavin tries to push me, but I'm ready for it. I grab his wrist and twist, not hard enough to break anything, but hard enough to make my point. He goes down on one knee, gasping. Here's what's going to happen, I say conversationally. You're going to stay away from my wife. You're going to stay away from me. You're going to leave town and find somewhere else to spread your particular brand of misery. Because if I see you near Lila again, I'm going to do more than just embarrass you. I let go and step back. Gavin scrambles to his feet, rubbing his wrist and looking around to see if anyone witnessed his humiliation. You can't threaten me, he says, but there's no conviction in it. I'm not threatening you, Gavin. I'm educating you. See, guys like you think the world owes you something just because you wear nice suits and drive fancy cars. But when the suits come off and the cars get repossessed, you're just another a-hole who never learned how to fight his own battles. I turn to walk away, then pause. Oh, and Gavin, those photos you took of me? You might want to check the timestamps. I was never anywhere I wasn't legally allowed to be, but you? You've been trespassing on my property, following my wife, and harassing my neighbors. Mrs. Cottle has some very interesting security footage. His face goes pale. What footage? The kind that shows you parked outside my house at 2 a.m, taking pictures through my windows. The kind that makes you look like a stalker instead of a victim. I leave him standing by the boat launch, probably wondering how badly he's miscalculated. The answer is completely, but he won't figure that out until it's too late. On the drive home, I call Big Mike. How'd it go? He asks. About like you'd expect? He's scared, but not smart enough to stay scared. You need backup? Not yet, but keep your phone handy. I have a feeling Gavin's going to do something stupid. They always do, Mike says. It's like they can't help themselves. He's right. Men like Gavin are predictable in their unpredictability. They always double down when they should fold, always escalate when they should retreat. It's what makes them so easy to manipulate. I'm counting on Gavin's arrogance to carry him through the next few days, right into the trap I've been building since this whole thing started. Because while he's been focused on threatening me and chasing my wife, I've been busy destroying the foundation of his entire life. And unlike Gavin, I actually know how to finish what I start. Sunday morning brings an unexpected development. Lila is gone. Not permanently. Her clothes are still in the closet, her car's still in the garage, but she didn't come home Saturday night, and her phone goes straight to voicemail. Either she's with Gavin, planning their next move, or she's finally worked up the courage to disappear entirely. I'm betting on option 1. Lila's not brave enough for a clean break, and Gavin's not smart enough to cut his losses. They're probably holed up somewhere, plotting their comeback or planning to run away together. Either way, they're making this easier than I expected. I spend the morning in my workshop, putting the finishing touches on Phase 3. Construction projects always have contingencies, backup plans for when the weather doesn't cooperate or materials don't arrive on schedule. This project is no different. At noon, Mrs. Cottle calls with an update. "Sam, dear, I saw that silver BMW again last night. It was parked at the end of the block around midnight. Did you get photos?" "Oh yes, and video too. The driver got out and walked around your house twice, looking in windows. Then he tried your back gate, attempted breaking and entering, trespassing, stalking. Gavin's building quite a resume." "Mrs. Cottle, would you mind emailing me those files? I think it's time to involve the police." "Of course, I'll send them right over. But I'm not ready for the police yet. First, I need to flush Gavin and Lila out of whatever hole they're hiding in, and I know exactly how to do it." I drive to Morrison Real Estate and park across the street, then call Mona. "Sam? Thank God. Have you heard from Lila?" "That's why I'm calling. She didn't come home last night. I'm worried something might have happened to her." She's fine, Sam. She just needs some time to think." "Think about what?" "Mona, if you know where she is, please tell me. I'm scared." The concern in my voice is genuine, even if the reason isn't what Mona thinks. I'm worried about Lila. Worried she's about to make the biggest mistake of her life. "She's with a friend," Mona says carefully. "Somewhere safe." "What friend?" "Mona, please. We've been married 8 years. Whatever's wrong, we can work it out." I hear her sigh, then muffled conversation in the background. Someone's coaching her, probably Lila herself. "Sam, Lila knows about the photos. She knows you've been following her." "What photos?" "Don't play dumb. The ones you took at the hotel. The ones you sent to Gavin's fiancé and Mr. Morrison." "Interesting. They think I'm responsible for Gavin's downfall, which means they haven't figured out the real scope of what's coming." "Mona, I don't know what you're talking about. What hotel? What photos?" "The Riverside Inn. You followed them there and took pictures of them. Together." "Together? How?" Silence. Mona realizes she's about to confess to adultery on behalf of her best friend. "Just together. Look, Sam, maybe you should talk to a lawyer." "A lawyer? Why would I need a lawyer?" "Because Lila's talking to one about divorce." There it is, the nuclear option. Lila's decided that offense is the best defense. She's going to claim I'm a controlling and aggressive stalker who drove her into another man's arms, probably with Gavin's encouragement. It's actually not a bad strategy if you ignore the mountain of evidence I've compiled over the past 2 weeks. "Mona, where is she? I need to talk to her." "I can't tell you that, Sam. I'm sorry." She hangs up, leaving me to contemplate the endgame. Lila and Gavin think they're cornered, which makes them dangerous. Cornered animals do unpredictable things, usually involving teeth and claws. Time to give them what they want, a final confrontation where they can present their version of events and try to salvage something from the wreckage of their affair. I text Lila from my burner phone. "We need to talk, all 3 of us. Riverside Park, boat launch, 8 p.m. tonight. Come alone or don't come at all." The response comes back within minutes. "How do I know you won't hurt us?" "Because I want this over as much as you do. One conversation, all cards on the table, then we figure out how to move forward." "Okay, but if you try anything, I'm calling the police." "Perfect." They think they're walking into a negotiation, maybe even an ambush. They have no idea they're walking into a public execution. I spend the afternoon making final preparations. Camera equipment positioned and tested, backup files uploaded to secure servers, insurance policies activated, every detail checked and double-checked. By 7:30, I'm in position near the boat launch, watching the parking area through binoculars. The park is nearly empty, too cold for casual visitors, too late for most dog walkers. At 7:55, a rental car pulls into the lot. Lila gets out first, looking around nervously. She's dressed like she's going to a funeral, which is appropriate. Gavin emerges from the driver's side, trying to project confidence, but failing. They walk toward the boat launch together, and I'm struck by how small they look. Not physically. Gavin's still tall, Lila's still beautiful, but diminished somehow, reduced to their essential components, a cheating wife and her unemployed boyfriend, about to face the consequences of their choices. I step out from behind the maintenance shed where I've been waiting. Lila, Gavin. Lila jumps, but Gavin puts a protective arm around her shoulders. The gesture might be touching if it wasn't so calculated. Sam, Lila says, we need to talk. I'm listening. She takes a deep breath, probably rehearsing the speech she and Gavin prepared. I want a divorce. Okay. The simple response throws her off. She was expecting anger, pleading, maybe threats. Instead, I'm just standing there, waiting for her to continue. I haven't been happy for a long time, Sam. We've grown apart. Have we? Yes. And I know you've been following me, taking pictures, trying to sabotage my career. That's not healthy, Sam. That's not love. What is love, Lila? It's trust, respect, giving someone space to grow. Like the space you gave me to grow while you were sleeping with your boss. She flinches at the crude language, but Gavin steps forward. There's no need for that kind of talk, he says. We're all adults here. Are we? Because adults usually don't sneak around like teenagers, lying to their spouses and employers. Lila and I fell in love, Gavin says. It wasn't planned, but it happened. And yes, we should have handled it differently. But we can't change the past. You're right. We can't change the past, but we can definitely learn from it. I pull out my phone and show them the screen. It's connected to a live stream that's currently broadcasting to 3 different social media platforms, plus a private server that's automatically forwarding the feed to a very specific list of email addresses. What is that? Lila asks. Insurance. See, I figured you two would want to have this conversation eventually, and I wanted to make sure everyone got the same story. Gavin's face goes pale. Who's watching this? Well, let's see. Your former colleagues at Morrison Real Estate, Lila's parents, my construction crew, Mrs. Cottle, and about half the neighborhood, a few reporters from the local paper. Oh, and Catherine Morrison. You remember Catherine, don't you, Gavin? Your ex-fiancée? Turn it off, Lila whispers. I don't think so. See, you wanted to have this conversation, and I think it's important that people understand the full context. For instance, they should probably know that this affair has been going on for 6 months, not the few weeks you'll probably claim. I pull out a folder full of printed emails, photos, and receipts. They should know about the hotel rooms, the fake business trips, the lies you told to your friends and family. Sam, please, Lila says, don't do this. Do what? Tell the truth? Isn't that what you wanted? All cards on the table? Gavin tries to grab my phone, but I step back easily. Construction work keeps you in shape, and desperation makes people clumsy. They should also know, I continue, that Gavin here has been stalking us for weeks, taking pictures of our house, following Lila to work, even trying to break into our backyard. That's not true, Gavin says, but his voice lacks conviction. Mrs. Cottle has some very interesting security footage that says otherwise. Don't you, Mrs. Cottle? I wave toward the parking area, where Mrs. Cottle is sitting in her car with her own camera documenting everything. She waves back enthusiastically. You set us up, Lila says. I gave you exactly what you wanted, a chance to explain yourselves publicly. Isn't that what people in love do? Share their happiness with the world? Tears are streaming down Lila's face now, but they're tears of rage and humiliation, not remorse. You bastard! You vindictive bastard! Vindictive? Maybe. But at least I'm honest about it. I address the camera directly. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to meet my wife, Lila, and her boyfriend, Gavin. They've been having an affair for 6 months, lying to everyone who trusted them, and now they want to paint me as the villain for exposing their lies. Sam, stop, Lila pleads. They want you to believe that I'm a manipulative and aggressive stalker who drove my poor wife into another man's arms. They want you to feel sorry for them. I turn back to Lila and Gavin. But here's what they don't want you to know. Gavin's not just a cheater, he's a predator. Lila's not his first affair, just his most recent. He's been using his position at Morrison Real Estate to coerce women into relationships for years. Gavin lunges at me, but I'm ready. I sidestep and let his momentum carry him past me, then give him a helpful push that sends him stumbling toward the water. And Lila's not just an unfaithful wife. She's been embezzling money from our joint accounts to pay for hotel rooms and gifts for her boyfriend. That's not true, she screams. Bank records don't lie, sweetheart, unlike people. Gavin's back on his feet, his expensive coat now muddy and torn. You can't prove any of this. Actually, I can. See, while you two were playing house, I was doing what I do best, building a case. Every lie documented, every expense tracked, every witness interviewed. I gestured toward the camera again. By tomorrow morning, copies of everything will be in the hands of the police, the IRS, the state licensing board, and anyone else who might be interested in your activities. The fight goes out of both of them simultaneously. Lila sinks onto a nearby bench, sobbing. Gavin just stands there, staring at the water like he's contemplating a swim. So here's what's going to happen, I continue. Lila, you're going to pack your things and move out of my house. You can file for divorce, but you won't get alimony, and you won't get half of anything. The prenup you signed covers adultery quite thoroughly. What prenup? She whispers. The one you signed when we bought the house, remember? You thought it was just mortgage paperwork. Her face crumbles as she realizes how completely she's been outmaneuvered. And Gavin, you're going to leave town tonight. Because if I see you anywhere near my wife, my house, or my neighborhood again, I'm going to have you arrested for stalking, harassment, and attempted breaking and entering. You can't make me leave town, he says, but there's no conviction in it. I can't. But Catherine Morrison's father can. Turns out he's got a lot of friends in law enforcement, and they're very interested in your recent activities. I end the live stream and pocket my phone. This has been fun, but I've got work in the morning. Real work, not whatever it is you people do. I start walking toward my truck, then pause. Oh, and Lila, I really did love you. That's what makes this so satisfying. I drive home through the quiet streets of our small town, past the houses where our neighbors are probably still watching the live stream, probably sharing it with their friends and family. By morning, everyone will know the truth about Lila Bishop and Gavin Reed. Their reputations will be destroyed, their careers finished, their futures uncertain. And I'll be in my workshop planning my next construction project, because that's what I do. I build things that last. Unlike some people, I finish what I start.